Okay, welcome back. The car has returned from Oakmere, and as you can see, we've had a bit of a garage reshuffle. So I've put a bit of a temporary-ish ramp down to get the cars up and down, which has allowed me to move the Lotus up to the back where it'll be hiding for the next while. And what that's allowed me to do is make room for the new daily driver. So I picked this up it's Friday night now, picked it up yesterday. So yeah, give it a clean and whatever over the weekend, but it will be hiding in here when not taking me to work. Back to this. So the Oakmere report, I may have already been through this on another clip, I can't remember. So Oakmere did the post-build check, and there was quite a few things wrong with the build. Effectively, it looked worse than it actually was when you kind of saw it all written down on paper. There were comments used on the kind of report which sounded quite bad when you see them in writing, and then you talk it through with the mechanic, and it's not like a big deal at all. But they've definitely helped me out on a few bits, mainly just kind of organising things like rerouting wiring and hoses and stuff. The area around the throttle body previously was a lot more congested. They've tidied that up. The things that, being honest, just aren't clear in the manual, they've kind of tidied that up. So the one thing I need to remedy is the fuel hose. So it's kind of hard to see, but the way I've routed, this is the fuel hose here coming into the fuel rail, and the way it's routed, it's ended up with a kink in the fuel line. It's hard to see on the camera. It'll be easier when I get it off the car. But the advice I was given was kind of the fuel hose comes through the transmission tunnel, and then I've kind of run it directly here onto the rail with its 90 degree, which has put a sharp radius on it. The recommendation I was given was to sort of route it over to the driver's side of the car and then route it back, so it has a bit of a more generous radius. So I'm going to have to replace it, which is a little bit of a pain. That is one of the items that comes pre-fitted to the car. So I've not actually touched it really, other than plugging it to the engine. So Caterham sent me this out. wasn't expensive. It's about 30 quid, I think. So it's all terminated ready. But that needs to run through the transmission tunnel and then into the boot, under the boot floor, which is another thing I'll have to take up, which I've not touched yet, which is to bring up the boot floor and gain access to the pump, to the fuel pump. So it's late on a Friday night. I don't know how much I'm going to get done right now, but I'm at least going to take a few bits off and try and figure out how big a job this is, and then hopefully get it done tomorrow. So I will report back if there's any progress. Okay, the boot floor is now up, and you can see the top of the tank exposed here. You see the fuel line on here, and the filler neck there. So I think this floor will come out, kind of maybe, to give me a bit more room, and then you can see it's cable tied just under that bit of floor there. So I will undo that, and I think what I'll do is I'll just undo it from the rear, get the transmission tunnel up and just pull it through to the front, and that's the plan. Okay, so seat out to get the tunnel off. It's a pain. So now you can see the fuel hose going along these cable ties here. So I'm going to have to drill these rivets out on this plate, take this plate out. That hopefully should give me enough access to hopefully be able to pull it through to the engine bay. Okay, kind of unclipped it from here, which has allowed me to pull loads of slack through. And what I've run into now, back under the boot floor, is it's trying to go through, it's difficult to get the torch in here, but it's trying to get the angled adapter through that grommet. Yeah, so I'm going to pop that grommet out. And hopefully, well, it must do, hopefully it goes through the chassis rail without taking the end off. but they wouldn't supply it pre-terminated if you had to take the end off, I guess. I hope. Or it goes through from the other direction. That is also a possibility, because that's a straight end. So maybe the straight end goes through. Anyway, I'll try the grommet out and see if that works. Okay, she's out, and that is the kink. Can you see that? Maybe if I put it in front of the... There we go. So, really good call to take this out, I think, even though it was a bit of a pain. I did pull it out from the back. There was a couple of cable ties buried under here somewhere, but I managed to kind of reach through with some snips. So yeah, I just need to run the other one back through. Clip it along the same path, and then, as I say, I'm going to bring. Seems like there was plenty slack in that, to be honest. So I think I'm going to bring as much slack as I can through to the engine bay, and do a nice gentle loop around with it onto the fuel rail. But that's the job for tomorrow, because I'm covered in petrol and it's late, so I'm going to get a shower. Kind of a step backwards, but we can start moving forwards again tomorrow. Okay, it's now the following morning. It's now Saturday morning. I'm going to get the new hose run in and clipped back in, get the interior back together. I've decided to put some more undue pressure on myself, and tomorrow, if I get booked on, I'm going to take this car to Donington Park for its first track day, which will be a shakedown day. I'm not going to be flying around in it. Just try and give it somewhat of a gentle run in. Well, let's face it, by the afternoon, if everything still works and isn't leaking, I'll probably send it a little bit, but it'll be, with it not being IVA'd yet, it's just the best or only opportunity for me to get some miles on it, check for leaks and things when it's actually under a decent amount of strain. So that's the deadline I've set for myself. So I need to get that fuel line in, obviously, get all the interior back together, and I need to get it on the... There's no trims falling off on the airbox. And I need to... Well, I don't need to, because Oakmere reckon they tracked it up, but get it on my scales just to figure out where the weight distribution is, maybe give the ride height a little bit of a tinker, and just make sure it's all pointing in the right direction. So yeah, that's my plan for today. Busy day up ahead. So it wasn't too hard to thread through the car, and then it's really hard to see, so yeah, probably no good showing you, but I've got a much more relaxed angle now coming into the fuel rail. That will get even more relaxed later, because after IVA, I've got to fit this stuff, which is it's like a fuel sample valve that gets fitted, around here, so that the scrutineers can take a fuel sample if needed. So this will become even more relaxed, but yeah, there's no harshness going on, no tight radiuses there at all. So it's just loosely down here now. So now I need to clip everything back in. I've kind of put the boot back together. Need to bolt the fire extinguisher in. That's the last thing to do. The water bottle. But yeah, that's a bit of progress. Right, so we're all clipped in, as you can see by the carnage on the garage floor. Transmission tunnel covers back on. So yeah, just the seats going now. I had the pedal box cover off again last night just to check a couple of things that they did at the post-build check. One of the things I'd missed was a blob of silicone in the top of the throttle pedal. Now, yes, I'd missed it, but it was intentionally missed. I figured I'd be messing around with the cable at least once before the car's ready to go. But anyway, they've done it for me, so that's just one job ticked off. Yeah, so the fuel hose, I am happy with how I've run it. There's no strains, nice big radiuses, radii, yeah, whatever. Everywhere, everything's clipped in nice and secure, so fingers crossed. That is the end of the fuel hose woes. So yeah, I'm just going to have a quick hoover up, and then get the suspension alignment, get the seat in, and then get the suspension alignment kit out, I think.